Donald Trump has been back in office for just 3 days, but he's already made sweeping changes to U.S. immigration policy that could affect millions of people, from canceling asylum appointments to ending birthright citizenship, suspending refugee admissions to authorizing ICE raids at schools and churches. The changes are coming fast, and they're coming hard. In this video, I'm going to break down the 10 biggest immigration policy changes that have happened in just the first 72 hours of Trump's second term, and explain what they mean for asylum seekers, and we're starting right now. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've got an asylum case pending or are considering applying. I'd especially like to hear from you if you've been waiting for an asylum interview for multiple years. Let me know how long you've been waiting. The changes happening right now in U.S. immigration policy are unprecedented in their scope and speed. In just his first 3 days back in office, President Trump has unleashed a barrage of executive orders that are dramatically reshaping our immigration system. Unlike his first term, where policies were often blocked by courts due to poor planning, Trump's team arrived with carefully prepared policies designed to withstand legal challenges. Let me break down the 10 major changes that have already happened since January 20th. First, the administration has effectively dismantled humanitarian programs. They've canceled thousands of asylum appointments that were previously scheduled through the CBP One app. The refugee program has been suspended indefinitely, leaving thousands stranded abroad, including over 1,600 pre-approved Afghan refugees who had their travel plans canceled. Another 3,000 Afghan nationals remain stranded in Albania, waiting for U.S. resettlement that may never come. Second, Trump has authorized immigration enforcement in previously protected spaces like schools, churches, and hospitals. This means ICE can now conduct raids in locations that were once considered off-limits. We're already seeing the impact. Some parents are keeping their children home from school out of fear. School districts are responding. Denver Public Schools, for example, have directed principals to lock down campuses if federal immigration agents arrive. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss the insights that I share on this channel. Third, Trump has expanded expedited removal nationwide. Previously, this fast-track deportation process was limited to areas within 100 miles of the border. Now it can be used anywhere in the United States for anyone who can't prove they've been here more than 2 years. This dramatically increases the risk of wrongful deportations, as people get a less meaningful opportunity to present their case before being removed once they're placed in expedited removal proceedings. Fourth, the administration has deployed 1,500 active duty troops to the border and declared what they're calling an invasion to justify suspending asylum entries. They're also moving to designate drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This military deployment raises serious legal questions about using armed forces for domestic law enforcement. Fifth, Trump has issued a controversial executive order challenging birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. This would affect an estimated 300,000 babies born annually to undocumented parents. The order specifically targets children born to mothers without permanent status and fathers who aren't citizens or permanent residents, potentially creating a class of stateless children. 22 states have already filed legal challenges. Sixth, the administration is taking aggressive action against so-called sanctuary cities. The Department of Justice has launched an unprecedented effort to criminally prosecute state and local officials who resist federal immigration enforcement. They've established a new Sanctuary Cities Enforcement Working Group and are framing immigration enforcement as a national security priority. Some state officials, including New Jersey's Attorney General, have already signaled they'll resist these measures. Seventh, Trump has terminated several humanitarian programs established under Biden, particularly the Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan parole program, known as the CHNV program, for the initials of the countries whose nationals can benefit from it. They're also reviewing all temporary protected status designations, and might even strip that status from current TPS holders, putting hundreds of thousands of long-term U.S. residents at risk of losing their status and being placed in deportation proceedings. Eighth, there's been a major shakeup in the immigration courts. 4 senior officials from the Executive Office for Immigration Review, which manages the immigration court system, have been abruptly removed from their positions. This comes as the immigration courts face an unprecedented backlog of 3.5 million cases and employ approximately 700 immigration judges who determine asylum seekers' futures. Ninth, the administration looks set to implement new mandatory detention requirements for immigrants. The Republican-controlled House just passed the Laken-Riley Act, Act, requiring federal authorities to detain migrants arrested for offenses ranging from shoplifting to violent crimes. It's now ready for Trump's signature. The Department of Homeland Security estimates first-year implementation costs at $26.9 billion, including 110,000 new detention beds. 10th, they've required all non-citizens to register and provide fingerprints with criminal penalties for non-compliance. They're restricting work permit issuance, even for those with pending applications, and they're threatening to revoke federal funding from jurisdictions that don't cooperate with immigration enforcement. The impact from this swarm of measures is already being felt across the country. Immigration advocacy groups report massive increases in calls for help. The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights received 400 hotline calls in a single day, compared to 800 for the entire month before Trump's inauguration. Businesses are feeling the effects too, particularly in industries that rely heavily on immigrant labor. The Cato Institute warns that removing undocumented workers could have cascading effects on legally employed Americans, especially those in supervisory roles. Currently, undocumented workers make up more than 5% of the nation's workforce, with particularly high concentrations in agriculture, where they constitute 20% of workers and up to 50% on specialty farms. I can't stress enough how different this is from Trump's first term. His team has clearly learned from past legal challenges. The policies are more carefully constructed, with preliminary studies and reports laying the groundwork. They're writing executive orders with more precise legal language, anticipating court challenges. Here's what you need to know. Having a pending asylum application may protect you from deportation. This isn't just my opinion. Even Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, has explicitly stated they'll respect the asylum process and allow cases to run their course. Let me be crystal clear about what this means. If you fear returning to your country, filing an application now could shield you from potential arrest, detention, and deportation. This is especially crucial if you're here on parole through CBP-1 or the CHNV program, or have TPS, but haven't yet applied for asylum. A pending asylum claim can protect you from deportation, but you need to act quickly. We're expecting increased scrutiny of new asylum applications, and standards are likely to become stricter over time. I believe that it'll be harder with every passing month to win asylum, now that Trump is back in power. This means that, if you've been thinking about applying for asylum, now is the time to talk with an experienced asylum lawyer about your options. And if you've already applied and have been waiting for years for your asylum interview with USCIS, then now is the time to push your case forward with an asylum delay lawsuit. The sooner you have your interview, the better. A mandamus lawsuit may help you get your stalled asylum case unstuck. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case, call my office today. That number is 713-909-0401. Remember, we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you live. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session, so we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your asylum journey.